good afternoon, Cheyenne and Arapaho country. My name is Natalie Harjo, and I am here at the Tribal Public Health Conference 2025, Circle of Wellness, Balancing Mind, Body, Spirit, and Community, that is being held by Southern Plains Tribal Health Board. I work for Southern Plains Tribal Health Board as a peer recovery support specialist and also as a public health specialist. I am joined here today for Women's Wednesday. We were so graciously asked to be on your podcast today with, let me read your entire name, Mekai Clark, Spotted Horse Chief. I was trying to not mess that up, and I also didn't want your husband to be upset with us. And then I will let you introduce yourself here in a little bit, and then Lexi Taylor Hill, and then Kristen Allfield. And I always try to overcomplicate your last name, and so we are. I wanted to invite these beautiful women to come to this Women's Wednesday who are actually in active recovery. And so, and I say actually like that's such a surprise, but sometimes it is a surprise when we get into the professional realm and we have people coming to us and asking questions. And that's why it's so important for us to be in active recovery and recovering out loud, right? So I will let you introduce yourself and what you do and all the good things that you want to have explained today, Mikai.
Noah Akitaru, Tatasa, Mikai Clark, Spotted Horse Chief, Tatasa, Miambate, Tatakita, Pari Kekahaki, Tatakita, Pankawa Shingoma, Omaha Ishta Sunde, Tata Chikstehu Titi Tiri. Hello, everyone. My name is Mikai Clark, Spotted Horse Chief. I'm citizen of Pawnee Nation, Kekahaki Band. I also descend from Pankawa Shingoma. I come from Gibbswater people, Omaha, the Omaha tribe of Nebraska, Ishta Sunde. I come from the Sky People, Thunder Clan, and I'm really honored to share this space with you ladies and with you gentlemen as well, and anybody online. I am a public health specialist, PRSS, peer recovery support specialist at Southern Plains Tribal Health Board. I've been in recovery since 2016 is when I started my journey. It's been a minute and I'm excited. And yeah, that's it for now.
Thank you, Mikai. And
Y'all go.
I know.
Hey,
All right, into the mic, Lexi, because I know you like to be quiet.
Seguli, everybody. My name is Lexi Taylor Hill. Gosh, I don't have a big, nice, long, traditional introduction, but I'm also.
She does, but
I'm not gonna do it right now. I am from the Southern Plains Tribal Health Board. I'm our events coordinator. So this is what I do. Our conference here. Just happy to host everybody, and really cool that we're having a podcast.
a recovery podcast.
A recovery
at
podcast.
that. Yeah.
A native recovery podcast.
A native woman
A native
recovery
woman.
podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done. One up on you.
Do one more. One time for the one time.
One time for the one time. Okay,
No.
go ahead.
No, I'm just so happy we're here, and thank you all for just allowing me to take up space and hold this seat and hold this space. And anytime I'm asked to talk about my recovery, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do that, because I know there were so many people in my space that were not able to do that. I've been on my recovery journey since June 23rd, 2019. So I'm really happy. I'm just really happy that I chose that date, and I'm sticking to it for now. Hey.
I hope that Lulu didn't sound like a turkey. Hey. It's mating season.
It's mating season.
That's the only way I know how to do
it's
it.
It's conference season, and it's mating season.
Anyway.
Y'all seen that episode of Red Dogs? We all know you did.
We know you watched it.
IHS conference.
Yeah, only one badge.
For now. We're only on day 2.
All right. And next with us, the lovely Kristen.
My name is Kristen Allfeld. My name is Kristen Allfeld. I am Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Cherokee. I did not grow up with culture, and so soon I will have my introduction down. No one's more shocked than me that I'm in recovery since 2000 2011,
Yeah.
August 20th, about 10 a.m.
You remember the time?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I was drinking beer in the at TRC. I went to the intake at 7, then talked them into letting me go out to the car to get something
Oh.
to finish the beer that I had in
They
there.
all knew what that was.
Oh,
They
I
knew what
knew.
that was.
I knew.
That
TRC
was
knew.
harm reduction at that point,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Mhm.
I mean, and that's a scary thing too. The withdrawal from alcohol can kill you. But yeah, also want to represent Shred the Stigma. I'm sit on the board of Shred the Stigma, and it's a privilege to be in that position, to be able to bring those services and to bring community and culture to people who get pushed to the fringes of society. So yes.
That's wonderful. You're very welcome. And thank you all for being here. You know, I'm pretty familiar with the Cheyenne Arapahoe Tour program, and I remember how rugged they are. And I just wanted you guys to understand that this is really a safe place for us to talk. And that stated, I feel like I need to call you out, Kristen. One of my favorite things when I met Kristen Alfeld was the first thing that she said when she flubbed up while we were talking. She was like, I am so sorry. I did a lot of drugs. And I was like, that's my girl right there. And but yeah, so you get it, right? And we have to talk and laugh about that stuff.
Oh,
And you know,
yeah.
we have to be able to, you know, one of the big things that I know that we've learned from this particular program with the Cheyenne Arapahoe Tour program is the recovery out loud is a big thing. So we can start to shred the stigma, kill all of the stigma that goes with, you know, the secretive part of it and everything. And you know, and just the fact that whenever they asked me, can we get a group of women, like bam, 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 we knew exactly who we needed to pull up here. And so, and Mikai, you know, I feel like I've been forcing you to talk a lot more lately. And then even when I don't force her, she's like, I know, I can see Natalie looking at me. And
Her eyes.
I can feel her eyes.
Like I know
all-
she's looking at me, so
Yeah.
let me say something.
but anyway, yeah. And we were talking earlier about the elders meditation, and I know that they covered that this morning, but it was talking about the seventh generations, you know, and you know, just kind of what we're here for, what we stand for. And you know, and hardly ever, I don't want to say hardly ever, that might be misspeaking. A lot of times we don't get to speak about recovery and recover out loud because, like, for me, I feel like in my case, when I was going through coming up and growing up and becoming a woman and a mother, it wasn't supposed to be talked about because they might come take your kids away. Right. And like, or they're going to look down on you because that sees you as weak, or you're going to be prey, you know, basically. And so, you know, I just kind of wanted to open up that conversation as to what your recovery means to you, or even in a professional setting, like how either inspired or you can be inspiring to the viewers, or you know, just what you have to say and how you feel to help someone else that might be having an issue with recovering out loud. Anybody?
One of my favorite things, one of the first things I heard someone say, there was a woman, I was at a meeting, and she was joking about lying about having cancer. And she was laughing. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Like, how can she sit up there and lie about having cancer, being someone who also lied about having cancer?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And then saying these things out loud, and then being able to come to Southern Plains Tribal Health Board, where I'm now paid to go and talk about having done drugs, talking about
And when you lied about having cancer.
yes,
Yes.
and in my job right before this, I was working at a bank where for 13 years it was like, don't talk about drugs at work,
Right.
don't talk about making crack pipes at work, don't talk about
Of
this, don't
course.
talk about that.
Yeah.
And then now,
Like, we need those stories.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to talk about the crack
Yes.
pipes.
Please.
give me a reason.
Don't threaten me.
I could probably make one.
Right.
I'm looking around.
I'm looking around.
And that's real though, right? Those are the people
Yeah,
that we're talking
yeah.
to right now, that if you think that you're being secrets and you think that we
Mm.
don't see you,
Oh yeah.
we see you, right? Because we've been there. Not all of
Yeah.
us. Yeah, but I can't fashion a crack pipe right now, but I know who can.
Yeah. I know who to go to.
I know who we can go to. I can call her right quick, like. And so, and I like to talk about that because all of our recoveries look different.
Yeah.
We all have a different way of recovering. And even our addictions
Mm.
looked different. I always like to tell everybody I flew under the radar for years, to myself even, like, because my addiction didn't look like my father's. My addiction didn't look like my uncle's. I was holding my stuff together, so I wasn't really in addiction, right? And so, dang, I heard that all the way over here. It is. Oh, it is. And so, and like whenever you said that, I felt that because I remember thinking, like, just because somebody was drunk on the floor, in a ditch or somewhere, anyway, it wasn't any different than me being at a party drunk on the floor in the
Mhm.
bathroom, right?
Mhm.
But mine looked better because I was at a party celebrating, something happy, and you're just drinking for no reason. It's still addiction. Addiction is
Mm.
addiction. So anyway, Lexi.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about what just happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
What
absolutely.
just happened.
Absolutely.
So Recover Out Loud. Yeah.
Right.
And there's a reason for that because, I got sober real young. And I know people, that's not a very unique story, but it's not everybody's story. And it's something I'm grateful for all the time. But, I've always,
20 is unique.
yeah.
20 is unique.
I got
Very
sober at
unique.
20 years old, I've never had a legal drink of alcohol. I've heard it's no different than the illegal ones that I had, but I'm not going to find
it's
out
better.
that way. Really? No.
It was so fun.
No, and most of the people I work with, most of the people in my life know that I'm sober. And my sister talked about this with me more recently. She was like, I was thinking about it, and I hope it's okay that, like, I tell people that you're sober, and they go, oh, like, it's wrong, like something's wrong. And I was like, man, if you told them
Yeah,
I was
like you're
still
a leper.
drinking, yeah, if you told them I was still drinking, that's the point where it would be wrong. It's when you tell them I'm sober that people go, oh, the little clutch your pearls kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Mhm.
But I'm so happy to be able to say that because at least I'm not where I was. And more importantly, like, the people that I work with, usually they know if they talk to me, if they see me at a conference, I'm drinking my club soda. And, I still hang out, I still have a good time. I just don't have to have a drink to do that. And today, Kristen and I, and Nat and I, the three of us, we got to have this amazing, beautiful experience with somebody who does not have the same addiction that we do, but who reached out for help. A vulnerable, honest, strong, courageous moment where somebody said, I need help because I'm struggling, and we got to talk with her, and we got to sit with her and be with her and say, the details of our story are different, but at the core, I know what's going on in your
Mhm.
head. I know what's happening right now. And she's like, I was planning, we all know what that's like.
Mhm.
You're just like,
Relapse.
yeah, I was
I can
planning.
feel it.
I was planning my relapse. I was planning on that next drink. I was planning to know how to go out. I was planning on going to my dealer,
Mhm.
whatever it is, I was doing that, and it was going through my head. And she stopped,
Mhm.
and she said, I need help. Told somebody she did not know. I don't know if I could do that.
Right.
The first meeting I went to, I showed up 30 minutes late. There's a bunch of old people. I was
23.
20. They were all like 25. No, and she was like, she asked for help. And I remember when I came to that point, and I was like, if I don't do something about this, I'm gonna die either way. Either by
Mhm.
what I was gonna do to myself,
Mhm.
or what I knew alcohol and drugs were eventually gonna do to me. And I am so grateful that Creator found it fit in that moment to put me in a place to be of service to another person. Because this whole conference that I get to be able to do, it's it's so much more than just like, let's get a bunch of professionals together.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I think that Nat said this in a meeting, in a work meeting that we were in recently, and it was like, this is no stiff shirt conference. You know, we're not going to come all like, you know, we come dressed out.
I mean, we show up a show out.
we,
But
I mean, look at Nat right now. But like, what we do foundationally is think about others. I could not mentally do spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, I could not think about another person in my addiction. When I was going through what I was going through, I could not think about others. I did not know how to help myself. I did not know how to help another person. And I wanted that so badly. And for some reason today, Creator has put me in a position where I get to help other people
right.
on a daily basis in what might seem like it was 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes of the conference, but I'm going to be thinking about that for the next year.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
thinking about I've been struggling. I just had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost 6 months old. I love him so much, but it's turned my life upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And everything, you know, being a mom, being a parent, being a wife now, being responsible, I got all that stuff. And I'm struggling right now, you
Mhm.
know, and I've told y'all, like, it just happened,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I come here, and for some reason, I have been put in a position to help another person over and over in my life. And that is the only thing that I truly believe I'm supposed to be doing today.
Service
Because
work.
I couldn't do that out there. I had no purpose. My purpose was to find that next thing, to chase that next high, to chase that next drink, chase that next
Whatever.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, we all
Coda.
did it, but like, it was never with the intention of what can I do to do the next right thing. And right now, today, I get emotional, so I might start crying at some point here. But you know, just getting to sit and talk with another person while they shared, they were struggling,
Mhm.
and they were thinking about relapse. They were thinking about relapse right here in front of me. And she might have saved my life today.
Mhm.
And that's the thing.
Mhm.
She saved my life.
Mhm.
I know that I can't do anything for that, but I was there. I was like, drop everything.
Mhm.
This is the next right thing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is why I'm here. This is why I didn't bring my baby to the conference.
Right.
This is why everything lined up in my life to be able to be right there.
And we got to wrap her in recovery.
Absolutely.
There were like 5 of us that were
Yeah.
around her that
Yeah.
were women in recovery, because and how she radiated and gravitated towards
Yeah.
you. Like, she picked you out of a crowd of how many are here? 850 people. And like, I need help. I need well-briety. I need, and did it. And she
Mm.
was like, bam, bam, bam. 4 people go out. We smudge. We're good. We're Gucci. And she felt wonderful when she was done. And thank God
Yeah.
that you were where you were, because she saved your life, but you probably saved hers too. Because some of us don't have another relapse in us,
Yeah.
because we won't
No.
survive or come back from it. Right. And so that,
Well, it wasn't just me, and that's the other thing that I
right.
keep thinking about is like Kristen was there, and you were there, and another one of our she actually came up to another one of my coworkers, and another one of our
Right.
coworkers,
Right.
and needed to go sit in a room and try to calm down, and you know she was just having a hard time, and it took nothing more than a message in our all staff chat,
Exactly.
you know, and you were there, and you were there,
Yeah.
and I got to be there,
And
I'm-
Toto too.
Yeah.
Message and the bat signal goes up.
Bat
and-
signal,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I know.
My time
Yes,
to
here we
shine.
go. Pure
I get
SS.
excited for that.
Same.
You know?
Because at one time that was something that we hid for so long that made us feel less than.
Mm.
And now it makes us absolutely capable and qualified. Like,
And
who would have
she said
thunk?
that way too excited when she's
know.
struggling.
Excited.
I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Thank you so much for
I mean,
asking. And yeah, because she helps me more than
Mhm,
like
mhm.
her. That helped me more than I probably helped her.
Mhm.
And Kristen and I were like in the hall, like making calls and like, what can we
Yeah.
do? Like, how can we
Yeah.
help? And like, both of us were like energized and excited.
And then we
Mhm.
know the same person, which is
Right.
funny.
Yeah,
That
you
was
know.
it.
We're like,
Same meeting.
Yeah.
Y'all showed up late to the same meeting.
No, it was
Just small world.
but that's why we recover out loud.
Right.
That's why we talk about it. That's why that stuff like this is it saves lives.
And I think it's cool that our staff knows to come to the ones that are in
Absolutely.
recovery. You know, we have a really large staff. We have 80 people on staff,
Mhm.
and we know the ones to go to that are going through recovery. And, you know, and we're all very professional, you know,
Mhm.
we do the things,
I mean,
but I mean,
professional.
I
Professional.
use it lightly,
Yeah.
okay? Very loosely in that use. I mean, other than Mikai. She's like, I don't know. Why do I think that you're not rugged like we are? She gardens for her recovery, you know, and I have a black thumb. So like I can't grow anything unless I'm gonna eat it.
Mm.
But you grow beautiful stuff. What you should tell us about that.
I was just thinking though about your conversation and then recovering out loud,
Oh,
just because it's a new concept to me. But I've also realized, like stepping into this role of PRSS, thinking like 2016. I mean, when I entered recovery, a lot of people didn't know I was struggling
Mm.
until they see me in Jailbirds, and then it was like, okay, what is going on with you? You know, like
you didn't have eyebrows.
gosh.
Where were your eyebrows?
like and it was hard, you know. I'm like, I hate that stupid newspaper, eh? But
I
you
love
know,
it.
it was that's how
That's it,
everybody
chisme,
found out.
chisme.
Like, even my family, you know, nobody knew I was, you know, using pills. Nobody knew I was running out of my script, so I had to increase my intake on alcohol. Nobody knew what I was doing, you know, because I was doing it at home by myself, you know, and I'm not out. I'm not doing. So I'm like, okay, well, this is what's going on. And even then, I didn't like. After everything happened, I'm like, I'm going to treatment. I'm doing these things. I just never wanted to talk about like my recovery because it comes with a lot of trauma. You know, the underlying cause was trauma. Once I was peeling back the layers, learning about myself, who I was like as a sober person. So I realized I caught myself just in the reflections of, you know, coming on to Southern Plains, going into the trainings, like, okay, you've been stagnant in your recovery, and what you're doing is what you did when you were an addict too. So I always think like you can be sober and you can still be an asshole. You know, you can be
Absolutely.
sober and still have
yeah.
all these
Been one.
bad, like you know, these just unhealthy
Yes.
you know, ways of communicating, unhealthy ways of still coping, even though you're not using. So that's kind of where I was like, you're still being like, you're still closeting yourself, even in your recovery, even in, you know, relapse and stuff like that. So it's like just having that imposter syndrome too, of like, okay, you know, um, and then realizing, hey, you know, your recovery is not linear. You know that it's going to go like this sometimes, and sometimes you're going to be really good at it, and some days, you know, you're not going to be so good. You're going to need to still reach out and ask for that help, you know. So those were just kind of some things that I had, like, you know, had thought about recently, just, you know, 2 weeks ago, like, wow, you've been very stagnant. What else do you need to work on? So when I first got into recovery, I was on an initiative called Redefine Healing Historical Trauma in Indigenous Communities. So I got to go around and share my story of trauma. And I did it, you know, for a couple years straight, going into Indigenous communities, talking about, you know, my trauma, all of this. And then I kind of got to a point where it's like, I'm tired of talking about my trauma. I'm tired of talking about trauma in general, but it's there, you know. And I had people still reaching out to me, just, was it last year? Yeah, like, can you come and speak, you know? And I was like, I don't want to talk about trauma. So even teaching myself, let's talk about healing. Let's talk about your healing. What does that look like? How have you got to where you are now? So I'm still learning, like, how to transition from the phase of like what my trauma looked like, my addiction, to what my healing looks like, and still trying to be available to people. So I'm still learning. I
Mhm.
feel like the process
Mhm.
of recovering out loud, even doing this, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know.
I'm like so just
Yeah.
like it's nerve wracking to me, but I also know I have to be uncomfortable. That's where healing lies, you know. So
Mhm.
and that uncomfortableness. So I'm still learning. So don't think that just because I started in 2016, like I am figured it out and I am healed. No, it is a journey. And I always tell people I have to choose recovery every day. It's
Daily.
not a, oh, I'm going to be in recovery one time choice. Like I have to make that choice every day to want to stay in recovery and want to keep doing the work, you know, but it looks different every day too. It's not
Yes.
the same process every day. Some days I'm like, dang, I need to not talk so rugged to my kids, you know, and
Hey, I'm still working on that.
you know, just different stuff. Like, am I talking to my partner? Like, how am I? And it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with me and what I'm still working on, you know, and stuff
That
like
didn't
that.
hurt.
So, yeah,
That didn't hurt at all.
He is so tough. He is the military just got him. I was like, you are so strong and thank you for loving me because I can be rugged. So I'm like learning, you know, learning how to be a good partner and learning how to be a better mother and learning how to just be better in recovery and stuff like that. So that's kind of, those were my thoughts, you know, just
Yeah.
listening to you guys talk and then listening to the meditation and talking about recovering out loud.
You know, accountability is something that I have to work on every day too. You know, we were just talking about how every day I have to relinquish control, right? Because every day I think I got it and I don't got it. And like every day I will run into, even in the morning, I think I've relinquished and then something will happen an hour later and be like, got to go back. And, you know,
Like
and
that.
that's why it's so, okay, creator.
They said
I
drop it.
know.
Creator said drop it right now.
Drop
Drop
it.
it.
Lies.
Shop. They say e-shop.
Okay, I relinquish control again. But you know, and it's a daily battle. It's a daily thing. And I love that you talked about how recovery is not linear because a lot of times we learn that it's a checklist. Oh, I've gone through this, I'm done. No, because it will come back raging. Sometimes and you know, we always believe, like we have a belief that if you don't deal with it, it's going to keep coming back to you. It's going to come back and present it to you in a different way until you learn it. And sometimes those lessons get harder and harder and harder. Some of us learn the hard way. Like I had to be almost like I was very, very, I experienced suicide ideation when I was a child, when I was 8 and 10 and 12. And you know, and then the older I got, the more I thought, well, I'll just grow out of it. And then it got to where I wasn't even scared of it anymore. And you know, and so like that coming full circle for me, having to understand that that was something I had to deal with, that was trauma, and I thought I would never be recovered from it. I thought I would never come back from that. I was prepared to not be on this world anymore because I was done dealing with the pain. I didn't even know that there was another side to come out. And then whenever I started seeing it, you know, a little bit, and it took me, I was grown before I started seeing that it was a worthy life to live. And I know that people who dealt with the same trauma and experiences that I did when I was younger, I wanted to help them. And I wanted them to know that they weren't the only ones that were dealing with a lot of this stuff. And, you know, and recovering out loud was not a concept that I was used to. Like I said, I didn't want anybody because I was in a relationship. I was in that relationship where I was threatened that, oh, I can take your kids away from you, you know, so you couldn't show weakness. And so I didn't want to be in that relationship, but I also didn't want it to be used against me. And so I had to go through a lot of healing. I had to understand it because I lived in that fear all the time that my kids would be taken away from me and I was never going to truly heal from a lot of that mental anguish. And so, you know, but out loud, that's when I started finding my people. Because as soon as you start sharing that story, then somebody will come up to you and say, "Oh, that was me too. I also did a lot of drugs." You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I also know how to fashion a crack pipe out of
Yes.
anything. And so, you know what I mean? And then you find your people. And I know it's terrible that we use this, but you know, we use this word, the normies word.
I mean,
Listen, and and I know your husband's a normie,
he is
right? And so and it's not even used in a derogatory way. It's just that I found my people, and now we can go teach them what it's like, because we all know how to lean on each other, to learn from each other, and let me teach you the way, right? And go ahead.
Kristen and I, at the beginning of the conference on Monday, back behind the registration table, there was 2 wine glasses with some mixed drinks in them, and we saw them, and they were half full, and we were like,
What a
"What
waste.
the hell? What is who?
monster.
What kind of monster.
Who leaves drinks half full? Who does that?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Oh, they're probably not like us."
Probably
And
normies.
we just had a moment where we were both like angry. We were like mad.
My husband and I used to go to a like jazz night at the Skirvin, and it blows my mind. We have booze in our house, bottles. It never even occurs to him to just drink it at home. And his family, they've stopped doing it for 7 years. We have 7 full bottles
Mhm.
of it was like 12-year-old scotch.
Mhm.
Now it's older than that because it's all dusty. Because he just doesn't
Dusted
drink
over.
it.
Dusty
And I
drinks.
forget that it's there until a time like this where I'm like, but we would go to, the jazz night, and he would drink one, and then he might get to, or he might have another one, but then not finish it. And I'm like, hey, man,
Dude.
what do you,
We paid
You're
for
gonna
that for
disrespect
one.
me like
what are you doing?
So
Like,
weird.
yeah, I know.
That's so
I don't
weird.
understand that. I drank it until it was totally gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'd had
Corners.
$5
Corners.
I probably would not have gotten sober if I was able to
Mm.
The
get
last time.
more
Mm.
booze. Yeah, that
Mhm.
was part of the thing. And now a very big reason that I haven't gone back out is because I'm too lazy to do it again. And it was so hard. It was so hard. And the quitting smoking too.
Yeah.
She and I were the woman that we were talking to earlier. Quitting smoking. I'll walk past a cigarette butt on the sidewalk, and my brain, and this is so gross, my brain is like, nope,
Snipe hunt.
it's fine. No,
Snipe
that's
hunt.
not fine. That's not okay. There was
It's
a
not
pandemic.
okay, but listen,
Pandemic.
that's how we got our
Bird
fix
flu.
before.
Bird flu is happening.
I was not a high bottom drunk. Not a
Yeah.
high bottom.
I am not a bougie drink.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yeah.
That's so funny because it's real, right? Like, I completely get that. The first thing I think of now is I'm too cheap. Like,
Yes.
that's one of the reasons that I had to stop smoking, is because I'm so picky. I'm a bougie smoker. So if I can't smoke what I want, then I'm not smoking at all. But that's how I became later in my alcoholism. Is that's how I thought. I knew I was slowing down because I was picky. Before I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
But then it was, if I can't drink what I want, then I'm not drinking at all. And I remember one time my cousin came up to me, and we were at a funeral, and he was like, "Hey, Nat, are you thirsty?" And it was Bush. And I was like, I have never been that thirsty in my life.
Oh my
But
God.
listen, I have been.
I would have said,
I
of course.
remember.
You clearly don't know me.
I remember on occasion, like I would like drugs, like just whatever drugs were around. I had preferences for sure. And I didn't like PCP. I do not recommend it. But it was
10 out of 10,
available
do not recommend.
and it was cheap. And
10
so
out
I'd
of
just be
10.
like, "Ugh, I don't want any of that, but let's go." Like,
That's all you got.
yeah, like,
Okay,
it's-
let's go.
It's awful. It's
If you will, I will.
right.
Kristen said, one time for the one time.
One
Let's
time
do
for the
it.
one
Let's
time.
do it.
I mean, if that's all you got.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't have anything else in the bag? No.
No.
All right.
Insist.
No. $7. That was. I was like, that's it. Lasts for a
A
really
5
long
and 8
time.
quarters.
I just wanted to feel different.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and just
Oh,
however that
yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
just it didn't matter.
I feel that because, like,
Yeah.
for me, a lot of my addiction was numb.
Yeah.
It was because I dissociated from all the trauma and the pain and all of it, all of the bad things that happened to me when I was a kid. I learned
Yeah.
how to dissociate, and so I didn't know how to feel for a long time. And all I wanted to do was feel.
Mhm.
That's why the suicidal ideation kind of kicked in. That's why the cutting started happening, because I wanted to be able to feel
Mm.
anything. And pain became an addiction to me.
Mhm.
It became a very heavy, horrible addiction to me. And so, like, I was numb for so long, and then whenever, like, even now, because we've all, we're very healing queens now, right? And so, like, we work on that on a daily basis. And even like, now, whenever I cry, like, I almost still get mad at myself, like, oh my gosh, why am I crying? But for
Yeah.
so long I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't learn how to.
Everything now.
Now it's
Now
like,
that I
what
have
the heck
feelings,
is wrong
Yeah.
with
I
me?
know.
Am I hormonal?
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Did
like-
anybody think they were going crazy in early sobriety because like you were just like feeling emotions for the
I was
first time?
already
Yeah.
Yeah, I was already crazy.
besides that, eh? You were like, why am I leaking? Oh my
What
god,
the
no!
heck?
Like, what's coming out of my eyes? Like,
Wait,
And
am
I
I
was like-
pregnant or
no, people just walk around like that, like all
Feeling.
the time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
feeling emotion,
Yeah.
and then just like letting it go.
We have a friend that is in recovery, and he's always like, I'm not going to cry. And I always tease and go, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get emotional. Yeah, you are. And he's always going to get emotional. But I don't know why he even
Good.
says it.
good.
Like, just do it.
Yeah,
Just
Yes.
do it.
good.
Whenever I first started at Southern Plains, I got to go to a training like almost right away. And I just working at Southern Plains is so, like, I cry all the time because and they had talked about, I one of the women, it was a woman and a man, and
No, you're good.
she was saying how she was like, I'm gonna cry and I'm not gonna apologize for it,
Mm.
because I always try to hold it back.
Mhm.
And hearing that and being like, yeah, I'm gonna cry, and that's fine. I'm crying because I'm gonna feel this. And so, several times during during the opening yesterday and today, I'm just like, holy shit, this is so cool that this is my job. I love this so much. I'm just like, and I'm not a religious person or anything,
Right.
but the prayers that I hear, just crying, and everything makes me cry. Everything, it's happiness, it's mourning of things that I lost, but also things that I have found in losing those things. And just the enormity of just being human is, it's wild. It's wild and embarrassing sometimes.
It's not embarrassing. I mean, it can be like
It's
snot. Spirituality and religion. We just talked about
Yes,
this last week.
yeah,
Sometimes people get those confused.
Mhm.
They're not the same.
No. Yeah.
Completely not the same.
Yeah.
Your spirituality is completely different sometimes from that. And so, I like to keep that compartmentalized because, I have some issues with organized religion, but I also am very strong and stand, on business in my spirituality. And so you can't take that from me. Was you going to say something?
Just what an honor and a privilege to be able to cry today.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what an
Yeah.
honor and a privilege to be able to like witness yourself be in your body enough to feel and experience physical, mental, spiritual emotion. I mean, that's gratitude.
Mm.
I think about that sometimes. For the first 6 months of my sobriety, I cried. I'm not kidding. Like, people who know me from early sobriety knew that I cried all the time. And a lot of people make fun of me for that now, but I think about that time, and I really, really needed that. I mean, that kind of medicine, that being able to cry and like be vulnerable that way allowed me to have this kind of room and space to heal, that discomfort where you said like being uncomfortable, that's where growth, that's where healing is.
Mhm.
I love the quote, pain is the touchstone of spiritual progress.
Yes.
And when I allow myself to experience that and to feel that and to have that, I mean, to be honest, I don't feel more connected to my creator than when I cry. And that for me is a way for me to like make space and just like know that whatever I'm feeling at that moment, because I cry when I'm mad, I'm cry when I'm sad, I cry when I'm happy, I cry when like I'm just like overwhelmed with what I think is creator. And what an honor and a privilege to be able to do that today.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I agree. Darian, any comments at all that you care to?
I love you,
We love you,
Lindy.
Lindy.
I love you, Lindy.
Osio. Who's right there? He could have told us right here. Hey. Ooh, dang, where's the Lulu button? Hey, this one of these. Watch it be buck. Hey. Buck. 7,000 days. Buck. Good afternoon. We love you. Kikadoos. Oh, it's not morning anymore. We still love you. In the afternoon, Mary. Wow.
So
She's
hard.
also too lazy. That was so real. Hey.
It's just easier to stay on that conveyor belt.
Yeah.
You know, of just I'm just gonna
That
keep
conveyor.
doing what I'm doing. It's easier to do that than to shift gears and do anything
That
else.
conveyor belt
Yeah.
of codependency
Yeah.
is what it looks like
Oh.
to me. If you bring it to me, I'll do it.
Oh.
So, okay. Yeah. Being a real coder right now. Okay. Anything else? Good afternoon, Ray Ray. And Gardapi, I think, is possibly a Seminole family. I don't think Gardapi is a Seminole name, but I think that's a Seminole family. So good afternoon, everyone. And I mean, closing thoughts. We've been on here for a good little while and we didn't anticipate thinking that we were going to be able to take up enough time. So any closing thoughts on being here and the conference even? I mean, because I forgot there's a conference going on and we got to go back to work. So
I was like, well, we've been here for like 5 minutes. It's been like 40.
yeah.
43.
Final thoughts, anyone? All right. Oh, hey, done.
Bye.
Bye. Deuces.
Where's the buck button?
Where's the buck?
Buck.
Hey, done.
Buck.
Everybody all at the same time.
Buck.
Well, I mean, thank you, ladies, for indulging me in the invitation. I really love being able to showcase our beautiful women. I was just telling Lexi that we have a really beautiful staff.
Really gorgeous.
And some of the ones that are ugly outside are inside beautiful. Hey, I'm just playing. I'm joking. Okay. And some of the ones that are pretty outside are ugly. So,
God.
okay, I'm just playing. All right.
Hey, God.
I know. Hey, I might not be the MC tomorrow. Hey, but thank you very much. Thank you to Cheyenne Arapahoe Tour Project. Thank
Y'all
you
go.
for-
Y'all go.
Thank
Yeah.
you to Connor Bushyhead for letting us be so bold to speak and talk
Thank
the
you for
way that
giving
we
me
are.
a mic.
do. I
You
know.
know?
Who gave us a mic?
I know. We're about-
Anyway, and
You asked
so
for
I
this.
just tore it.
You asked-
I know. This is what you wanted. But thank you very much again. And we will see you next time. And you have to, since this is a Cheyenne Arapahoe, you have to say a ho at the very end. So practice it one time, a ho. All right, ready? All right. And a
Ho.
ho.